It's words and music from Riverside Revival for WMOT Roots Radio. BJ Barham of American Aquarium with us. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Are you an early riser?
I am.
Wow.
I'm on my dad time. I'm up every day at like 6:30.
Really?
Yeah, I gotta cook breakfast for the kiddo, get ready for school. Now that it's summer, it's a little bit more relaxed, but I'm always on dad time, and yeah, I'm an early riser.
What a change that is, lifestyle-wise.
I love it. I used to question back in my drinking days how everybody got stuff done, and I realized if you wake up at 6 instead of 1 p.m., you can get a lot more done in the day. Like you have a lot more day to do stuff.
You could be up until 6, 8, you know. And I mean, honestly, the whole like getting the energy dissipated after you've been on stage does take time. So does that still keep you up?
Like if I go on tour, it's like we call it like resetting the rock clock. Like it takes like 3 or 4 days of like, because like when I'm at home, when I'm in like domesticated mode, I'm in the bed at like 10 p.m. every night, and I'm up at 6 every morning, and rock and roll does not abide by those times. So yeah, when you go to bed at 2 a.m., your body, the first couple of days, I'm still up at like 7, and then finally my body takes a deep breath and is like, okay, we're in a different situation. By day 3 or 4, I'm really sleeping into like 8:30, feeling good about myself.
Let's talk about how you tour now. Is it different than 20 years ago?
Oh, for sure. Early days, I didn't have anything to come home to. I didn't have a home. I was living in a storage unit in Raleigh, North Carolina. Shout out to Capitol Storage Ample Storage on Capitol Boulevard. I lived in a storage unit. We were playing 300 dates a year, so like it didn't make sense to have a place. I didn't have a relationship, a kid, nothing tying me to home. So we just toured as much as we could. In 2011, 12, and 13, we did 307, 304, and 306, like 3 years back to back, almost 1,000 shows, and didn't blink. Like we thought that was normal. That was what you had to do to make a name for yourself. And now we play about 70 shows a year, 80 shows a year, and I'm home 300 days a year to be a dad, to be a husband, to be a normal functioning member of my community.
It's nice. It's good.
It's nice.
So do you do mostly just weekends or long weekends, or do you go out in a stretch?
So we'll go. We try not to do anything longer than 10 days. So we'll go out for 10 days and then take a month off.
Oh, cool.
And then go out for another 10 days and take a month off. And it's responsible touring. It's what you do in your 40s.
Well, also the other part too is, when your kid's young and you miss things because you're incessantly on the road, you can be there, it's not that far in between to adjust if need be.
I was lucky. I got to hear a lot of dads who did it the wrong way. Being on the road for a long time, I got to hear a lot of dads who really messed up the early years, and I made it a priority as soon as I had a kid to not miss the early years. Luckily, the pandemic stepped in and gave me ages 1 through 3 at home. I got to be there for the first steps, first words, first everything, and I'm thankful for that. But now that she's older, we've adjusted touring to her school schedule. So, like, I don't tour in the summer. So when she gets out of school, I'm off the road until she goes back to school. And then we just go on trips as a family, and I'm a normal dad. And then as soon as she goes back to school, I go back on the road. And, it works.
You have learned how to adult.
I've watched a lot of people do it the wrong way to learn how to do it the right way. Yeah, for sure.
So great. Well, the last time we saw you, too, you came and played for us for Americana Fest and on a solo record that I had people in the audience in tears as they listened to those songs. They were so emotional and so confessional and intimate look into your life and being sober. And, I always wonder when artists make a solo record versus a band record, the impetus for each.
The solo record came at a weird time in my life. The version of American Aquarium that I was in was really kind of at an intersection. I realized the writing was on the wall that the band was about to implode on itself. Again, let's go back to the 300 days a year thing. We were running ourselves ragged, burning at both ends, and that there's no longevity in that. That can't sustain. And so once I saw the writing on the wall, that the solo record was ultimately just me testing the water to see if people would still show up if it had my name on it. Because the classic move when your band implodes is I'm going solo. And it was just a test for that, to see, are people coming for the whole band or are they coming for the songs that this guy writes? And once I learned that it was the songs that the guy writes, you know, it made everybody's departure from the band a little bit easier, because I knew that I'd be able to land on my feet. And then after the band quit, the entire band quit February of 2017, and I had about 2 weeks where I was kind of, you know, sulking around the house. Woe is me. Why does everybody leave? And my wife kind of just slapped some sense into me and said, they're your songs. You're the only songwriter. As long as you want to play these songs, people are going to show up for American Aquarium. And like most of the time, she was 100% correct. And I put a new band together, and that's the same band I have to this day. And people still show up for the shows, show up for the songs.
How did you and your wife meet?
I met her at a rock and roll show. She came to one of my shows with her boyfriend. He used to be a big fan of our band. Keyword used to be. He doesn't come around much anymore. She came to a solo show and was a really loud talker in the crowd. She did not like the music. She didn't want to be there. Her boyfriend at the time was the one that talked her into coming, and so she made sure she was going to try to ruin the evening. So she talked the whole time, and I had to stop the show and yell at her and tell her to, like, please shut up. Like, I will pay you money to leave. And 15 years later, she's the mother of my child, the love of my life. And thank God for August of 2011 in Jacksonville, Florida. That rock club changed my life.
It's actually pretty amazing. Now, there's a song on the brand new album that is such a love song. It's so beautiful, but explores reincarnation also.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that some?
It just kind of touches on like Plato's Symposium, like the idea that when you start in this world with a partner and you're separated at the beginning, and then you spend your entire life trying to find that other piece of you. It's just kind of a classic play on that. The twin flames idea that, you know, once you get back together, it's just one flame. And you have to go out and find the other half of you got to find your person. And I never understood what that meant until you find it. You think it's all nonsense until you actually find the thing. And you hear people talk about when they met their partner, like how it felt like they knew them forever. They already knew each other. And it felt comfortable. And, you know, we talked for 4 hours and it felt like 10 minutes. And, you know, all the stuff you think is cliche when people are talking about love, until you fall into it and you realize, like, oh, wow, that's there's a reason that's cliche. There's a reason that everybody feels that way, and it's pretty universal. When you find your person, it feels like you're finding that missing piece, and that's just a song about love wrapped up in a big old rock and roll song.
Would you play it for us?
Yeah, for sure. My name's BJ Barham. I'm in a band called American Aquarium, and this is a new song called Twin Flames. They say love is just one soul living inside two different bodies, and we are cursed to spend our whole life searching for the missing party. I saw a girl looks like you roaming in the back of my memory, and it felt like we knew each other for the last couple centuries. I found you this go around, I'll find you in the next one too. Every version, variation, every sequel, every single time it's you. This old heart beat black and blue, hoping that the journey would one day pay off. Learned your name, that's when I knew I'd finally found some comfort in the chaos. Twin flames set a glow to a future that is mutually accepted. It's a shame you can't know the strength of a heart until it's tested.
find you in the next one too. Every version, variation, every sequel, every single time it's you. Yeah, I found you this go around. I find you in the next one too. I'd find you in 1,000 different lifetimes, my dear. Every version, variation, every sequel, every single time it's you. It's always you. It's always you.
This is the first single off our new record, New Ways to Lose. This is a song called History Repeats Itself.
Woke up today and they're tearing down another thing I love about this town. Little men in ill-fitting suits making the decisions for me and you. Tall and skinny, cheap and fast, who gives a damn how long they'll last? It's get the money, get out of town, be long gone before it all falls down. I refuse to sit back idly, mindlessly playing the cards we're dealt. I'd rather shoot for the moon and burn out brightly than sit around watching history repeat itself. Turn on the news and it breaks my heart. Another family being torn apart. How many times does it have to happen to them before it happens to you? I refuse to believe this is who we are, and I won't sit back and let it fall apart. You're either saying okay or absolutely not. You're either giving up or giving it all you got. I refuse to sit back idly, mindlessly playing the cards we're dealt. I'd rather shoot for the moon and burn out brightly and sit around watching history repeat itself. I refuse to sit back idly, mindlessly playing the cards we're dealt. I'd rather shoot for the moon and burn out brightly than sit around watching history repeat itself.
This is a brand new song called Favorite Hello.
There's a pillow on the bed where you laid your head every night for 13 years. Young and wild and only child, one half of a package deal. I packed you up, moved you out, and brought you both back home. I never knew the hole you'd leave until the moment you were gone. Ain't a day goes by that I don't think about you. Ain't a day goes by that you ain't on my mind. You were the goodest boy a man could ever ask for. My favorite hello was my hardest goodbye. We roamed around town to town. For years it was just us three. I hope I brought you half the joy that you brought to me. Sometimes at night, a sound, a sight, a smell is all it takes to remind me that your only fault was the fact you couldn't stay. There ain't a day goes by that I don't think about you. There ain't a day goes by you ain't on my mind. You were the goodest boy a man could ever ask for. My favorite hello was my hardest goodbye. If I could grant myself one wish, I'd wish for a little more time. 'Cause loving you your whole life means missing you the rest of mine. There ain't a day goes by I don't think about you. There ain't a day goes by you ain't on my mind. You were the goodest boy a man could ever ask for. My favorite hello was my hardest goodbye. My favorite hello was my hardest goodbye.
Favorite hello. BJ Barham in the studio with us, digging into the new American Aquarium album, which has just come out. Let's talk about the name.
New Ways to Lose. It is a lyric out of one of the songs off the record. It's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek play on. I went to school at North Carolina State University, home of the Wolf Pack, and we had a color commentator there who. NC State is notoriously famous for losing a lot at their own hands. And we had an announcer named Gary Hahn who used to always have these really colorful anecdotes. You know, whenever NC State blows like a 30-point lead at the end of the game, he'd get on and it's like, well, there you have it, live from Raleigh. NC State is creating new ways to lose. Blowed a 30-point fourth quarter lead and lost to Clemson 31-30. And it always stuck with me, like the idea that this good thing just couldn't get out of the way of itself and kept just finding a new way to fall over itself. And, when you are releasing your 20th record in 20 years, it rings a little truer to you. It's like, here's another. I think the original title of the record was going to be 10 New Ways to Lose because the record has 10 songs on it. But we shortened it to New Ways to Lose, and now it's kind of manifested itself into a bunch of different meanings. The overarching theme of the record is kind of the disintegration of small-town America. Development and gentrification are kind of ripping the seams apart of what the collective small-town America used to be. And so it's like these towns that, for multiple generations have been voting against their own self-interest, getting in their own way. Not allowing themselves to find success. What started off as kind of a funny title of the record has very quickly become a stark look at what we're currently going through right now. And as we're watching the downfall of not just the middle class, but middle class America, which is everything that's not a large metro area.
Well, and also hospitals closing in rural areas. And, Nashville, obviously, we're building too talls here, too.
Yeah.
And, you just wonder how well they're built. We get a lot of tornadoes.
You don't have to wonder.
Yeah.
It's very clear. The code has changed over the last 50 years for a reason. It's made them cheaper and cheaper, and there's less qualifications for a house to meet. That's why when you buy a house that's 100 years old, it's still standing, and why you go into a house that was put 20 years ago and it's falling apart.
Wow.
It's there's a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's touring town to town got to be really obvious to you.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's really easy to just think that you're one, like, this can only be happening here in your town. but I'm fortunate. I get to travel the country for a living and drive through every small town to get to the big towns. And you see it. You see this kind of decay, small towns trading in character for commerce and, trading in everything for like this commercial viability. And it's like not everywhere needs to be a big city. Sometimes the quiet places need to stay quiet.
There's a joy at a small town living.
I love it. Like I lived in Raleigh for, 15, 16 years, and I loved it. When I was in my 20s, it was everything I wanted it to be. There was that convenience. There was that walk out your front door and get a bite to eat and go to a bar and have fun, and you're around everything. But, there's a reason a lot of people want to get away from some of the bigger towns when you start a family and you start settling down. Like, I like the fact that, the street light goes out at 9 p.m. and we get to go to sleep and it's quiet. And I like living in the middle of nowhere, and that's kind of where I chose to put my roots down, was a place where it slowed down a little bit. As soon as you turned off the highway, you could feel time just slow down, and you could hear things and you could see things. And now it's very quickly turning into just another bedroom suburb of the thing I left. And it's, not to sound like the old man yelling at the sky, but it finds me longing for, maybe I need to push further east away from Raleigh and find a quieter town that's a little bit further away from the gentrification.
So the last song that you played, favorite, Hello.
Yeah.
I was in tears.
It's a heavy tune. Yeah. It's a really heavy tune. It's about losing a pet. And more importantly, it's about losing that first pet. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of pets. All through college, I had roommates. I dated gals that had pets, but nothing that was ever mine. And me and my wife had a French bulldog for 14 years, and that quickly turned me in from being a not pet person to a very much a pet person. And we lost him a couple years back, and it just hadn't been that we haven't got a new dog since. Like it's tough, when you lose something that has essentially become a part of your family. It's
they're
tough.
All so special.
Yeah,
they're so specific.
Yeah, every pet owner. I think my favorite part about writing this new song is at the merch table every night. People show me pictures of their pets and talk to me about their pets. So I've made a career kind of writing about like the darker corners of the human experience. And so at the end of every night, like, not that I mind it, but it's a lot of trauma dumping. It's a lot of people coming and be like, well, here's my version of that song you wrote. And it gets really heavy. But now it turns into, like, it's heavy, but it's also, I get to see a bunch of dog pictures. And you can't not leave the merch table smiling when you spend 30 minutes talking about dogs. It's special. And, it's a song. I tend to try to write a lot of songs that don't exist already in the world. There's plenty of songs about sunshine and rainbows and unicorns, but there's not enough songs about the really heavy stuff, the stuff that kind of hides in the corner and is scary. Throughout my career, I've learned that when you take that scary thing that you're going through that's hiding in the corner and you drag it out to the middle of the room and you put a light on it and you and your friends stand around and talk about it, it's way less scary. Once you give it a name and you can see it, it's not scary anymore. And that's all songwriters are doing, is dragging the monsters out of the corner and talking about them. And one of the things that has really haunted me the last couple of years is losing a pet. Like, I still haven't fully gotten over it. And in true songwriter fashion, when something's bugging you write about it. And that became easily one of the heaviest songs off the new record. It's a really big rock and roll record, except for that tune.
Do you put time aside daily to write, or?
I try to. I try to. I do pages. I wake up and I write, and I make notes to myself. And I'm not like most songwriters. I know a lot of songwriters wake up and they want to write one song every day. And, in my experience with those songwriters, they might get 5 songs a year that are good, and then they got 360 songs that they just finish to finish, and that's a waste of my time. Personally, it changed. Everybody's got a process for a reason. My process is sometimes I might go a whole year without writing a single song, and I just observe, I watch, I listen, I write down notes, ideas, song titles, little couplets here and there, and then I'll sit down for 2 or 3 days and write 7 songs. It's just I think one of the biggest things people miss on the creative process is giving yourself time to not be creative, giving yourself time just to like observe and live in a world and figure out what you want to write about, instead of every day trying to force something out. sit back and let it come to you. The muse has been really good to me, and every time I take time off and go back to open that spigot up, luckily water keeps coming out of it. So I've been doing this. This has been my process for well over a decade now, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
There you go.
Yeah.
How was it working with Shooter Jennings?
Making records with your friends is the coolest thing in the world. This is our third record with Shooter, and I've always been a fan of Shooter, and he's always been a fan of my writing. He was playing us on the show before he knew who we were personally. And it came about from my booking agent. My booking agent was also Shooter's booking agent. And we had a producer fall through last minute in 2020. And we were kind of scrambling to find somebody to produce this record. And he's like, have you talked to Shooter? I'm like, I don't know Shooter Jennings. This is coming off like Brandy Carlisle's first Grammy. He'd already got the Tanya record in the can. Like, Shooter was like becoming he was in the pantheon of the Dave Cobbs in that 2020. And we sent Shooter the demos, and he's like, yeah, come out here next month. Come to L.A., make a record. And we did. And then we left that session, and he pulled me aside, and he said, I'll make records with you forever. He's like, anytime you want to make a record, I'm your guy. And now we've got 3, and I can't really see us working with anybody else in the future. He's, that's 3 times we've went mining and came back with gold, so I feel pretty good about it.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And it's, again, kindred spirit. It's so great to find that simpatico where
He comes from good stock. We see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, and trust is the biggest part of making records, and it's about trusting the person who's ultimately making the calls on what decisions get made, and I trust him musically with just about anything. Me and him text a couple times a week. Like, he's a dear friend, and it's so nice to see him continually getting the flowers that he deserves, because for being a songwriter and an artist, he was great. But, man, when you put him in a producer role, he really gets to shine, and I think really kind of get out of that shadow of his dad that he lived in for a long time. Like, he is Shooter Jennings, the producer now, and nobody gets to compare that to anything. And that's a beautiful thing, to watch your friends kind of find their lane and not just excel, but like become iconic in it.
Yeah. Well, and also I think, the path that he watched of his father being a household name, that's way harder to do now. So if that was what he thought, was hanging at the end of the rainbow, he's actually found a better...
Yeah, Shooter likes going home to Misty and the dogs every night. Like, Shooter doesn't want to be on the road. Shooter doesn't like... That's why we make records in Los Angeles. That's why we don't make records in Nashville or New York or anywhere else. It's like, he likes to go home at night, sleep in his bed, and come to work the next day. Yeah. And, I love it when your friends, like I said, when they find their purpose. And not only do they find it, they excel at it. And Shooter has not only found what he's put on this earth to do, but he is crushing it right now.
I love him.
Yeah, he's the best.
And I love you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks a ton. Thanks for having me on.
And hanging out with us.
It's easy.
And congratulations on 20 years.
Thank you so much. I blinked, and it just went by. But it's, it should be here another 20 years from now, too. So we'll catch up then as well.
Well, maybe before then.
Let's try it. We'll do it before 20 years.
BJ Barham from American Aquarium for Words and Music for WMOT Roots Radio. Comes to you with support from the Bodecker Foundation and George Bodecker.